In America, people will be very happy. But when Srila Prabhupada saw that, they became hippies. Even though having all this Janma, Ishwarya, Shutashri, high birth, Aishwarya, wealth, and high education and bodily beauty. But still, because of not having connection with the Lord, they were suffering. So Srila Prabhupada, out of compassion, he preached those hippies and he delivered them. Now those hippies became happies. Similarly, here Narad Muni also, out of compassion, he goes everywhere and preaches. And while preaching, he is fearless. Actually, when we are preaching, we have to become fearless. Without being fearless, we can not preach actually. So I have personal experience in my life also. Most of the times when we go for book distribution, so many opposing elements will come to stop us from preaching or distributing books. Sometimes even government authorities like police people and so many varieties of elements will come. So if we become fearful, then we will stop our distribution, book distribution or preaching. So when we become fearless, and because we are purely preaching the mission of the Lord, and we should have faith that Lord is there with us, whole parampara is with us, and we are not this material body, and we are spirit souls. And when we are preaching, if we ourselves are not convinced that we are not body, we are soul, how can we preach? So when we are preaching, even in Christian missionaries, they say that whole day you preach, if time permits, speak some words. Preaching does not mean that we are speaking the words, but rather whole life is our preaching. So when we are going out, people observe us. How we behave, that is more important. If our behavior is not according to the scriptures, so we are preaching another thing. It's a wrong mission. Wrong message we are giving to the people, that preaching, we ourselves are preaching another message. So people hear less and they observe more. So while preaching, we should behave also. Yedidacharati shreshtastat eva itaro janaha. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Yedid acharati shreshtas, whatever they preach, the others will follow. That is what Sanatan Goswami says about Haridas Thakur, that some people behave nicely, some people preach nicely. But you, Haridas Thakur, you do both. So we have to become fearless and we have to be determined. While preaching, we have to have patience. It's not that one day we will convert the people, whole world. No, it's not possible. So we should have patience also. We have to be determined. Just like Narada Muni is determined. So another thing is that told that transcendental vision, he sees the potential for devotion in every soul. Sometimes we discriminate while distributing books also. Sometimes we discriminate. We have to discriminate, but at the same time, we should know that every jiva is potential to perform devotional service. So sometimes we think that, and now I am preaching since so many years, now I know who will come to devotional service and who will not come to devotional service. But from Narada Muni's life, we see that how he is preaching every jiva. So he's not discriminating. So another thing is that Narada Muni is focusing, preaches regardless of opposition or difficulties. So even when Daksha became very much disheartened when Haryashvas were preached by Narad Muni, and they were converted to devotional service. And Daksha chastises Narad Muni, and he just tolerates. Mm. So even in our life also, when we are preaching, there may be so many oppositions, so many difficulties. Uh, it may happen that within our when we are preaching within our community also, there may be so many difficulties, and we have to face some challenges. Mm. Because everybody cannot understand the mood of a preacher. Mm. So if he is determined, he can overcome it easily. So Narada Muni engages people of all walks of life in devotional service. So how we can compare Srila Prabhupada also, how he engaged the people from all over the world, American, African, Russian, Chinese, everywhere. It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, Kirata Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha Abhira Shumba Yavana Kasadaya. Yennecha Papa Yadapastrayashraya Shuddhanti Tasmai Prabhu Vishnave Namaha. So Prabhupada compares all those people. Who are those Kiratas, Hunas, Andhras, Pulinda, Pulkasha, everywhere. So Prabhupada says that it's Africans, Mongolians. He describes every people. So out of compassion, Srila Prabhupada transformed everybody into pure devotional service. That is the reason we see that nowadays, everywhere in the world, African, Chinese, Americans, everybody is preaching. That is only because of the missionary spirit of Srila Prabhupada. So here, Haryashvas and Shavalashvas, though Daksha, he desired his sons to become progenitors. But Narada Muni intervenes in the mission of Daksha. Srila Prabhupada says that Daksha means very expert in producing children. And here we see another Daksha, expert, Narada Muni, he is very expert in delivering the people from the material world to the spiritual world. Both are experts, but the material experts, they are expert in materialistic things, and the devotees, they are expert in spiritualism. So when the spiritual experts, they are preaching Krishna consciousness, these material experts cannot understand these things. So there may be clash between these two. So they cannot understand what is the mission of the spiritual experts. So Narada Muni,
बांगलादेशचे ड्युटी जाण्यावर नाहीतर त्या लोकांना भेटणार त्यांना काय करू ना मुंबई आणि वाडा करूया मुंबईचा एक दिवस करून 2 दिवस वाड्याला संपत त्या लोकांना
these Haryashvas, when they go to Narayana Ashraya, so there he engages them in philosophical discussion about the futility of material life. So Narada Muni explains how futile this material life is, how temporary it is. So material, you can try to become advanced in spiritual things, but it is not permanent. And he opens their eyes to the higher purpose of life, that is devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is what we see Srila Prabhupada. So whole world is turning to America. They want to go to America. Why? To earn some material things. But Americans, they have achieved everything. And Srila Prabhupada says that so nowadays Indians are going to America. For what? For earning some futile material things. He says that the Americans are old crows, now Indians are new crows. Everyone is going to America only for earning some material things. But Srila Prabhupada is such an acharya with missionary spirit. Out of devotion, he converted those hippies' life into happy life by delivering them from material world to the spiritual world. And he gave the knowledge of Gita and Bhagavatam. So he delivered. And Srila Prabhupada also opened the darkened eyes of Americans. And then he brought those Americans to Indians. And when those Americans, they practiced Krishna consciousness, Indians also realized that this is the highest. Actually, we were thinking that Americans that are means they are happy, but those happy people also accepted Krishna consciousness. That means this spiritual life is highest, and even Indians also started practicing Krishna consciousness. That is the expertise of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So, what is the outcome? Daksha's son renounced worldly life and dedicate themselves to spiritual pursuits. So, the, our Narad Muni, what he preached to the Daksha's sons, the main points of Daksha's preaching is he told them that temporary nature of material existence, the importance of seeking liberation rather than material enjoyment, and real success lies in surrendering to Krishna and engaging in devotional service. That is the focused point, the key points which Narada Muni told. Actually, it is the fact that the material world is temporary, and material is the importance of seeking liberation rather than material enjoyment. So, in our life also, when we came to Krishna consciousness, we were also thinking that we will achieve big positions. But somehow or other, we got Srila Prabhupada mercy through his books. Especially in my life, I got Srila Prabhupada's mercy through his Bhagavad Gita. So then when I read Srimad Bhagavad Gita, then I realized that, so actually I am going in a wrong path. So after completing Bhagavad Gita, reading Bhagavad Gita, and then I started coming to temple also, then I realized that this is not actually the goal. So then third thing is real success lies in surrendering to Krishna and engaging in devotional service. So that is the success when we practice Krishna consciousness, and as we increase our devotional service, this devotional service can only give us the real happiness and real satisfaction. Otherwise, if we achieve some material things like we may have big bungalow, gaadi, everything, but internally we will be dissatisfied. So when Narad Muni preached powerfully to the Haryashvas, and they got delivered, and again, so another set of sons were produced by Daksha, and their name was Shavalasvas, and they also came to same place. And Narad Muni, he came again and he preached to them. And this time it was very easy for him. He just told that your elder brothers, they went back to spiritual world and they attained the perfection of their life. Why are you going practicing anything other than what your brothers practiced? So very easily they have also accepted. So a powerful example of how one can influence others towards spiritual realization. So Narada Muni and Chitraketu's life is also changed by the intervention of Narada Muni. So Chitraketu is deeply attached to having a son, and because since so many years, even after having so many wives, he was not having children. And somehow or other, he got a son, was very much attached to his son. So, but later, as predicted by Narada Muni and Angira, so Chitraketu Maharaj, he was very much grief under loss of his sons. So Narad Muni, he entered in the life of Chitraketu Maharaj, and he preaches this impermanence of worldly attachments, So he blesses Chitraketu with divine knowledge and the ability to see beyond dualities. So here also we see that how Chitraketu attains enlightenment and becomes a great devotee of the Lord. So the missionary spirit in Chitraketu deliverance, we can see here that Narada Muni, he uses Chitraketu's intense emotions as a gateway to spiritual realization. And he focuses on enlightening the soul rather than comforting the mind. So Narada Muni uses different techniques to deliver different uh, uh, devotees, different disciples. So it's not that when we are preaching, it's a similar. Every time we are using same thing. No. According to time, place, circumstances, we have to change our technique also. So outcome should be the living attitude should surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord. So genuine compassion transcends worldly sympathy. It is about directing the soul towards Krishna. So what we can learn from the Narad Muni's life, how the missionary spirit, so preaching without discrimination. First thing we can learn is that Narad Muni is preaching without discrimination. Narad's approach shows that spiritual knowledge can be imparted to anyone and anywhere. So when now Bhadra Purnima marathon is coming on, so we should also do the same thing. Don't discriminate that whether he is a devotee or non-devotee. But the thing is that we can learn from our Jet Age Narada Muni how Srila Prabhupada preached the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam to everyone. He carried 200 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam while going to America. And Prabhupada preached very nicely, and everywhere he preached. So turning adversities into opportunities. He uses every situation as a platform to spread Krishna consciousness. So when we are also going out for preaching, so many adversities may come in our life. So we can turn the adversities into the opportunity. So sometimes it may happen that some people may put obstacles in our life. Most of the, if we are fearless, then the same adversity becomes opportunity. So for example, I was also distributing Bhagavad Gita in down the railway station. One police came and he told that, oh, why you are distributing selling Bhagavad Gita here? Have you got permission? I said no. So now pay some money, like that he was asking, the 200 rupees de do. Now, I said, I'm doing service. I don't get any money from this. Like that, he started arguing and he did so many techniques to take some money from me. But I was fearless. I told him that now, okay, we'll discuss later. But first of all, you sit here and I want to show something. I opened Bhagavad Gita and I was showing all the others, that hellish planet. He was so fearful. And then he said that, okay, in my life, I have to do so many sinful activities. How can I come out from these sinful activities? I said, you read Bhagavad Gita. So he took Bhagavad Gita. He paid also. And he told that in future, if anybody gives any trouble to you, you just call me in this number. I will help you. So you see that if we are fearless, then it becomes this adversity become opportunity in our life also. The thing is that we have to be bold enough to preach everywhere, every situation to everyone. So uses every situation as platform to spread Krishna consciousness, and fearlessness in preaching faces criticism and rejection, but remains focused on his mission. So sometimes we have to be tolerant. When I was distributing books in train, once it happened that some Christian group, they wanted to ignite some anger in my life. So they tried. But initially, I was also becoming very angry. If somebody says something against Krishna consciousness or ISKCON, I would have become very angry. But later I understood that why should I waste my time? I have very limited time. So many people are suffering. So why should I waste these people? These people are not ready to take any books. They just waste my time. I just tolerated. But the thing is that when I tolerated, people also took Bhagavad Gita from me. But when I became angry, It was just waste of time, and my consciousness were spoiled, and whole public they are thinking that what kind of sadhu he is. He's becoming angry. So we have to become very tolerant also, just like Narada Muni also. Uh, he was very tolerant. So practical application for devotees, that we have to adopt the qualities of Narada Muni. We have to be very, very compassionate and fearless in preaching. We should not, most of the times, we think, if I go there and if somebody do not accept my books, what will happen? What will happen to my ego? So we are fearful. We are fearful of our image. So what will happen? At the most, they will say, no, okay. So His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj was asked one question. Maharaj, most of the times when we go out for preaching, most of the times people reject and they say no. That time, what we should do? How we can maintain our consciousness? He said that if when we are going for preaching, so if we are going for book discussion with the Prabhupada books, Krishna will put one tick mark on our account. And if that person purchases books, Krishna will put another tick mark on his account. But he does not take, then it is not your problem, it is his problem. In your account, Krishna has already put one tick mark. So you are successful. So we have to use our intelligence how to distribute books. By when we go out, then we will learn all those things. So engage everyone, use every interaction as a chance to inspire devotion. So every time it's a different experience. Sometimes we go for sometimes bus party, sometimes our Sankirtan bus party, sometimes we may go to offices, and every time we will get another, every time different experiences. So whatever chance we may get, sometimes we go to and flight, we spend so much time. So next to us, so many people are sitting. So we can take the chance. Once His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj was sitting to one person. He started preaching, and end of the preaching, he got order for 20,000 Bhagavad Gitas. 20,000 Bhagavad Gita in one interaction. So we should also use every interaction as a chance to inspire devotion in the hearts of the people. So we have to focus on the soul's welfare, aim to elevate souls beyond material distress. So many people are suffering. So Srila Prabhupada said that so many people say about love of God, love of God, love of God, but no one knows what is love of God. Now, how to bring the love of God in our life? But we know how to get that love of God. We have that medicine. So many people are suffering. We have the medicine. And if we do not distribute this medicine, the whole world will suffer like anything. So, for example, now recently Corona disease came, and whole world was suffering. So our devotees, they were fearless. Some devotees were distributing prasadam, some were distributing Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and some online book distribution was also going on. We have to use our techniques, how to deliver the souls. And here, Srila Prabhupada once, one of the lecture, he was saying that so many people are doing welfare activity, like somebody is distributing food and clothing, so many things. But here, when we practice Krishna consciousness and spread the knowledge about Krishna consciousness, we are doing the highest thing in our life. So the conclusion is that Narada Muni exemplifies the ideal preacher's spirit. Out of compassion, he was preaching, and he was using all the strategies to preach Krishna consciousness, and he was unwavering, not disturbing in whatever situation may come. And he is fully convinced that he is not the body, he is the soul. Nobody can harm unless Krishna desires. So that conviction was there in Srila Narada Muni's life. And uh, our His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada carried the same mood and mission. And he was also compassionate, and he was fearless. Mhm. And he was preaching. Nowadays, we see that all Srila Prabhupada's disciples also carrying the same mood. Just yesterday, I saw a photo of His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj. He's going to Singapore. In Singapore, Krishna consciousness is not allowed. And he's wearing pant and shirt. Just see what is the situation of His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj. In this condition, he is going to Singapore for preaching, wearing pant and shirt. See the mood of our acharyas, Srila Prabhupada disciples. They just followed the mood, carried the mood of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and they are also doing the same thing and following the footsteps of all our previous acharyas and the current acharyas. And call for action is embrace the spirit of Narada Muni in our lives and be active missionaries in spreading Krishna consciousness. So during this Bhadra Purnima, we have a target of distributing 68,000 Srimad Bhagavatam. In ISKCON Pune, we have taken target of only 1,000 Bhagavatam set. Even if our brahmacharis, if they distribute 10 Bhagavatam sets each, they can distribute 1,000. But we have so many congregation devotees. And if we distribute one Srimad Bhagavatam, even if Srimad Bhagavatam goes to anyone's house, and definitely, even if they touch, even if they, Srila Prabhupada said that, even if they touch my books, at least they will get human body. They will not get animal body. So that is the desire of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. And we are living in the mission of Srila Prabhupada. And this is the mission, not only the mission of the founder Acharya, but this is the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is why he says that Nacha tasman manusheshu kaschinme priyakritama bhavita nacha me tasmad anya priyataro bhuvihi. The mission, what is the mission of the Lord? The mission of the Lord is to take the fallen souls from the material world to the spiritual world. He writes in first canto, mission of the Lord. So we are being the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, being the devotee of the Lord, we should also carry the same mood. So all our acharyas carried the same mood, and our founder Acharya carried the same mood, current Acharya, our spiritual masters, and all the devotees. It's a natural. Being compassionate is a natural. Lord Shiva, he saw that when halahal, that poison came when they are churning the ocean, Samudra Manthan Leela, Lord Shiva saw that demons and demigods both were flying. Lord Shiva, being a compassionate devotee of the Lord, he accepted the mood and he took that poison on himself. And that is why his name Nilakanteshwara. That is why he is the best of the Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much for hearing and tolerating me. Please, if you have any question, you can ask. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for such a wonderful presentation. I want to ask a question that you are mentioning the missionary spirit of Narada Muni, how he is so fearless and without any discrimination, he is preaching and delivering everybody. But we also know that a Madhyam Adhikari has to discriminate Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha, different kind of persons he meets. So he has to also discriminate who is envious person, who is, and accordingly he will. So how do we actually, Narada Muni, we see that he is very exalted, but on our level, we have to also discriminate. Can you elaborate?
Yes, Prabhuji, that is true. Actually, in initial stage, we cannot imitate the Uttamadhikari. So Uttamadikari can see the spirit soul everywhere. And we being the Madhyamadikari, even Uttamadikaris also come to the platform of Madhyamadikari when they are preaching. So Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha. So Prema for pure devotees and the Lord, we should love them, and we take association of senior devotees. Maitri, equal devotees, we have to be friendly behavior with the equal devotees. And Kripa means those who are neophytes. They are eager, for them we preach. So all those people, those who are ready to hear, we have to preach. But if someone is criticizing us, if someone is criticizing our spiritual master or mission or Lord, then we should not preach them. We should not try to give them. That means we are making them to glide down from their platform. They will go further down. That is why the mercy towards them is we should give them up. Now they are not ready. Let them be there. So we should not give them opportunity to commit some aparadha. So now they are not ready. That is what I was saying, that we have very limited time. And we have to deliver so many people, those who are very ready, eager to accept Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada can do that. Even those who are envious, for them also, he could have preached. But we have to know ourselves that there are so many other people. Instead of, most of the times it happens that if we preach, they will not take Bhagavad Gita, they will not come to Krishna consciousness. Rather, they will decrease their Krishna consciousness. Why to do that thing? That is what I also told, same thing. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Any other question or comments? Yes, Prabhu. Sudhama Prabhu. The missionary, bubbling missionary spirit. Always preaching Krishna consciousness, and he distributes so many Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And at the same time, he is delivering so many Hariyashwas and Shavalavaswas in PDC. Okay, yes, Prabhu.
Much for this nice, wonderful presentation. Basically, what happens is that because of the cold atmosphere sometimes in the association, the missionary spirit of an individual becomes very slackened and adversely affected, because of which actually all of us, we joined ashram that we want to do something for others, that to live for the welfare of people in general, we dedicate our life, that I'll do something for others. But how to see that the individual missionary spirit does not get affected if there is not very favorable encouragement in surrounding.
So actually, we have to see that this is the mission which I have joined. The acharyas like Prabhupada and senior devotees, so many, even now also so many examples we see. So it's not that when someone is not doing, we have to stop our missionary spirit. No. If no one is doing, no one is preaching, we ourselves, we should start. So no one says that when we are preaching, when we are spreading Krishna consciousness, nobody will say that you don't do like that. They may not do, but they will not put any obstacles to us. So we have to continue our spirit. So everybody likes. That is what I have learned in my life, that when we go out for book distribution, when we go out for preaching Krishna consciousness, and when so many people are accepting Krishna consciousness, by that way, we are giving them one clue that this is what the reason why I am blissful in Krishna consciousness. So when we practice Krishna consciousness, we will remain blissful. We should not take the lesson from those who are not practicing Krishna consciousness or those who are not preaching Krishna consciousness. Rather, we should take inspiration from those who are practicing Krishna consciousness and preaching Krishna consciousness. From them, we should take inspiration, not from those who are not doing. So there are so many examples. If we see that so many people are there. Another thing is that sometimes we think that preaching means only speaking some words or distributing books. No, in ISKCON, everything is preaching. Even someone is dressing the Lord, he's also preaching, because he is preaching, he is decorating the deity so nicely, and so many people are coming to temple and they are getting attracted, and then it becomes very easy for us to preach Krishna consciousness or give books. Very easy. Somebody is cooking nice prasadam. This is also preaching. So something is direct preaching, another is indirect preaching, or we are helping those who are preaching nicely. So sometimes it may happen that someone is speaking in front line, speaking in mics and doing some frontline activity. But Prabhupada made ISKCON in such a way that everybody can take part in this Krishna consciousness, and they're also part of preaching. Don't think that just preaching is only, means speaking is only Krishna consciousness. That is what I have told, that the Christian missionaries, they say that you preach whole day, and if time permits, speak some words. So behave nicely, that is also preaching. Gauril Prabhu can add, senior devotees. So preaching means everything. It's a holistic activity. Holistic activity means, suppose in a boat, 4 or 5 people are sitting. One person is thinking that, okay, some people are drowning because that hole is that side, I will not drown. No. So if the hole is there in the boat, that means everybody will drown. And when we are preaching, we have to think that everybody is with us. It's not that I am only preaching. No, everybody is preaching. So whole in temple, when we are going out for Harinam or when we go for distributing books, we are also part of this boat. And others are also, they are also doing. Otherwise, when we go out for book distribution and when we come back, there is no prasadam, what we'll do? This is also part of the preaching only. Everybody is taking part. So appreciate them. Because everybody cannot do everything. That is what Varnashrama Dharma. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Nobody is more and nobody less. According to their quality, they are utilizing their capacity. And they are using their full capacity. We are forming. Everybody is forming in service. Sometimes it happens that we are doing some part and we are thinking that we are so proud that we are doing so much. No. Everybody appreciate their activity. See whether they are utilizing their full capacity or not. If they are utilizing their full capacity, they are perfecting, they will go back to it. Rather, we will remain here only. So that is why we should think that we should try to appreciate everyone's service and we should encourage them. Sorry, I'm increasing the time. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Feedbacks.
Hare Krishna. So it was very wonderful presentation, very clear cut, very bold, very clear, and so nicely explained the missionary spirit of Narad Muni. So it was so wonderful to hear from you. And actually it was very systematically also presented, very clear, and obviously the mood of preaching in you was coming out. And that book distribution finally was so everything was simply very nice. And it was, the communication was also very proper, eye to eye contact, everything. So it was really wonderful presentation. Thank you, bro.
Any improvement, bro? Feedback means it's a combination, plus minus.
This is what I can say.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It was very joyful to hear you. And you very nicely combined Narad Muni's preaching spirit along with Srila Prabhupada's spirit. So it was very wonderful to hear from you. And you quoted good shlokas also, Yad Yad Acharati Sreshtas and Kirat Hunandra. Hare Krishna. So it was very nice to hear. Just I felt that you quoted two shlokas. Of course, the third one which you quoted is na chatasman manushya kashin me priyakritama. That was also very good. In my mind, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati had said, Pran ache ache ye to prachar. That is very powerful. And from Chaitanya Charitamrita Prithivete ache yatanagariti gram sarvatra prachar hoy be mor naam. So these shlokas are directly putting the word of preaching. So these are very important. And of course, in Srimad Bhagavatam, we find from the first canto till end, Narad Muni's preaching spirit. But Prahlad, he was born in demon family and he was preaching to his schoolboys. If that could have been added, it would have been nice. So it was very nice. And you quoted nice personal application along with preaching application. And at the end, you concluded also very powerfully with carry home message to preach, especially Jayapataka Maharaj pastime and Gopal Krishna Maharaj pastimes. Both, I mean, Jayapataka Maharaj, he is going to Singapore, and Gopal Krishna Maharaj, that pastime I cannot forget now. Ticking mark. Very nice. So it was very joyful to hear from you. I suggest that you can speak every month such class, then everyone will be fired up in preaching. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Next person, who is that? Next devotee. अच्छा. कौन है? आ जाओ. नहीं. आ जाओ. Very good.
विंडोज की कीजिए, विंडोज की नहीं हो रहा ना? आपका लैपटॉप है क्या? हाँ है ना, दीजिए दीजिए. दूसरा लैपटॉप लेकर नेट पे देखो. Make it full screen. Hare Krishna. Mama Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadameyam Dadate Swapadantikam. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschadeshitarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I seek blessings of all the devotees here who are all senior to me, that I can speak something for the purification of my heart. And these lessons, which are very, very crucial, I can myself apply in my own life and grow in my spiritual life and do it as service to all Vaishnavas. So today, the topic which I have got is cultivating tolerance and controlling anger. So this is going to be based on personal application for sadhakas. So it will be talking about Daksha episode and Shiva interaction with Shiva during Daksha Yajna. So these both the qualities are being reflected by these two great personalities. Like Daksha is teaching us, means Bhagavatam is teaching us through Daksha, that how it's very, very crucial to protect ourselves from anger. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajo Guna Samudbhavaha. So sadhaka is very, very important that we protect ourselves from these vices of lust, anger, and greed. So that we will be learning from Daksha, and we'll also see the opposite quality which was manifested beautifully by Vaishnava Nam Yatha Shambhu, who is Mahajan. So Mahajan is performing his wonderful role of being Mahajan in this episode of Daksha Yajna by manifesting the quality of tolerance. So we'll just discuss the outline, how this episode has come all the way till here. We find that in Canto 3rd and Canto 4th, which is considered to be thighs of the Supreme Lord, both the cantos are based on the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya. So Vidura is inquiring from Maitreya, and Maitreya is he described many things in 3rd canto. He described time, he described embryology, he described Sankhya Yoga, he described Ashtanga Yoga. And there is also a part of Bhakti Yoga, which is being described in the conversation of Devahuti and Kapila. And then Maitreya Muni is describing the descendants of Swayambhu Manu. So Swayambhu Manu had 5 children, 3 daughters and two sons. So Devahuti, Akuti, Prasuti, Uttanpad and Priyavrat. So he described Devahuti's marriage with Kardam Muni in 3rd canto. And then subsequently she had 9 daughters and Lord Kapil Dev. So the teachings of Kapil Dev were covered. The Kal effect of time was covered. And then how Devahuti married all her 9 daughters to 9 great sages, in which Anasuya was married to Atri, and how she had Durvasa and Dattatreya and Durvasa, Dattatreya, and representative of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh as her children. And then like that, the conversation continues and it comes to 4th canto. So in 4th canto, when he was describing Devahuti married with Kapila, Kardam, Akuti married Ruchi. The charger is required of this. Akuti married Ruchi and Prasuti married Daksha. So Prasuti had 16 daughters, 13 of which were given to Dharma. 13 daughters were given to Dharma, and 3 remaining daughters were given to Agni, and one more I'm forgetting, and one daughter was given, Sati was given to Daksha. So then he describes that Sati did not have any child further because she died prematurely. So the moment Maitreya told like this that Sati died prematurely. There was an inquiry in the Vidura that how she died prematurely. She was daughter of Daksha. She was daughter of Daksha and her husband was Shiva. Then this impelled Vidura to inquire further, and then comes the episode of second chapter. So her premature death became the cause of Vidura's further inquiry that how she died. Her father was Daksha and husband was Shiva. These two were great personalities. And then that leads to the second chapter onwards, the description of Daksha Yajna. And then we find that very, very crucial lessons to be learned from this episode. That this Daksha, though he was a Prajapati, he did not see Shiva more than his own son-in-law, because he had an external outlook towards this great Vaishnava. So some causes we'll be discussing. The prime cause Prabhupada says in the purport of eighth text of the same chapter 2nd Daksha Yajna, that on account of material outlook towards relationship, we develop offending mentality towards even Vaishnavas. So it's very, very important that we do not judge Vaishnavas based on their jati, based on their external appearance, based on their skills, based on their talents. Quite often nowadays what happens in ISKCON, हाँ जो उत्तरी अच्छे से पहनता है, जिसका पर्सनालिटी बहुत अच्छा है, जो अच्छे से बात करता है, so we get carried away by external achievements and we think that he's a great Vaishnava. The moment we say this is great Vaishnava, that means we are developing a perception about other Vaishnava who may be good, that he is not so great. Why? Because his look is not very, he is not very famous, he is not very prominent person in the temple or in ashram. So like this it begins. In case of Daksha, it began with, oh, I gave my daughter to this Shiva because Brahma forced me. Somehow I had to give. And then from there, the envy started. And subsequently, that envy itself manifested in form of anger and offense to Shiva. So envy in our heart becomes the cause of anger in the least provoking situations. Something which piles up, suddenly it will come out in form of great anger towards the Vaishnava. And it becomes so peak that we don't mind committing Vaishnava aparadh. That we will see later. Let me talk first what is coming in my mouth. Same thing happened with Daksha. And before talking, before opening his mouth, he's telling, don't think that I'm envious. Please don't mistake my position. What I'm going to tell is out of genuine understanding towards Shiva. So such kind of clarification is giving. So it's very, very important. Envy also, there was pride in Daksha because he was declared to be chief Prajapati by Brahma. So it's told that the character of a person is known when there is power and position given to him. Subsequently, you find that Nandishwar gave curse of him becoming goat because he said he is too much attached to sex life. So power and position shows the true nature of a sadhaka. Hence, it's very, very important to protect ourselves from this envy and pride. Prabhupada says in one of the purport in second canto, don't be proud of borrowed plumes. Whatever we have got in our life, whatever we are able to do, all our abilities, all our skills, all our capacities, it's all just borrowed plumes. We should just be gratefully accepting it and utilizing it in service of Lord. Otherwise, sooner or later, it's just a period of time. I'll not be much different from Daksha and I'll also be committing Vaishnava aparadh in my life, being envious of borrowed plumes. Prabhupada gives one more cause of atmosphere. He says that material field is so unsteady that even personalities like Nandishwar, Daksha, etc. were infected by the atmosphere of anger and they forgot their positions. Cursing and counter cursing happened in this great yajna. So ours is Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma is Harinam Sankirtan. Harinam Sankirtan Yajna. This yajna also there will be cursing and counter cursing if we do not understand lessons out of this. So Daksha time those kind of yajnas happened. So today, if you are not able to do Sankirtan Yagna, quite often the reason may be that we may have, as sadhaka, having the mentality of Daksha. So if I am having consciousness of Daksha in my heart, I will not feel inspired to do Sankirtan Yagna. Consciousness of Daksha means proud of borrowed plumes, or envy in my heart towards other Vaishnavas. To the degree I am envious, to the degree I am proud, to that degree I will feel hesitant to do Sankirtan Yagna also. And surely if I try to do artificially with envy and pride in my heart, there will be cursing and counter cursing even in Sankirtan Yagna. So Prabhupada says that, further Prabhupada also writes beautifully, the psychophysical effect of this anger. External effects are visible in many personalities. You find that Sati was breathing heavily when she became angry. See, this is extreme for sadhaka. Generally in ashram and generally it rarely happens. But if it's not controlled, it does go to physical limits. When one breathes heavily, Dhruva breathed heavily when Suruchi chastised him severely. Second symptoms are like, Prabhupada writes in 29 chapter 63rd verse that, hands start fighting, legs start kicking, tongue start vibrating, lips start shivering, eyes become red. So these are the psychophysical effects of anger. And then Prabhupada also further writes, there are other behavioral effects also. One becomes ungrateful. One is no more grateful if he is angry. Like we find here, Daksha is no more grateful for the great opportunity to serve. And he is not grateful to Brahma also, his own father. He is telling, he used the word parameshti. This parameshti told me to give my daughter, so I gave. He is not addressed, he is hesitating to address Brahma as father. So, anger in our heart makes us totally ungrateful towards those whom we are supposed to be grateful for. So, son is becoming ungrateful to not only son-in-law, but father also. And then fault finding happens even in faultless person. Vaishnavana metha shambhu. What fault is there? But we have heard the example of bee. Bee and honey bee, both are different. Though there is a word difference only of honey, but there is earth and sky difference between the nature of these two creatures. Bee, even if it's released in the garden full of flowers, the bee will go and find out somewhere some stool in corner and sit on that stool and lick the juice of it. Same way, a person who has envy in heart and who is malicious in heart, despite being surrounded by wonderful quality of Vaishnavas, despite being surrounded in wonderful temple, wonderful mission, wonderful setup by spiritual master, he will just keep finding stool-like qualities, stool-like faults, despite being in that flower garden of ISKCON of Srila Prabhupada. You will not see what all good things are there. You will not see morning Brahma, you will not see opportunity to practice bhakti, you will not see opportunity to go for Harinam, you will not see opportunity to distribute books, you will not see opportunity to serve Vaishnava, you will not see opportunity to go back to Godhead, but you will find rest all politics to talk about. What all things are going wrong in management, what all things are going wrong in temple, what all things are going like this, like that. So that's the mentality of whose? Not B, Daksha, who has become B here. Rebellion. We find, of course, this is further ahead happens, that how Sati failed to follow the advice of Shiva, and as a result of which she had to lose her life. She had disobeyed a great Vaishnava. That's the reason she had to lose her life. Same with Daksha disobeyed. Daksha offended a great Vaishnava. He also had to lose his life. Of course, subsequently he got goat's head. So it's very, very important for sadhaka that we don't fail to acknowledge our real well-wishers, our superiors, our caretakers, our counselors, our service authorities. So I should see that I don't see them like Daksha saw Shiva, or Sati saw Shiva. If my service authority is telling me that I should not go for Kartik Yatra, am I looking at him like Sati looked at Shiva? If yes, then I should learn a lesson to improve. Subsequently, you find that detrimental effects. Daksha left arena. Everybody was telling him, don't leave, but still he did not care for anybody. He just left, walked off. That's an insult to all the other great personalities who were present there. There is something called disproportionate anger. Like we find that Dhruva Maharaj became so angry at Yakshas just because one Yaksha had killed his brother, but he ended up annihilating the entire race of. Became determined to annihilate all Yakshas. And then we find Janmejaya, the son of Parikshit Maharaj. He decided to kill all the snakes. They remove the snake species only from the planet. So this is called disproportionate anger. So aggravation takes place in anger. It's not easy to control once it takes up. So it's very, very important that if I'm thinking that I'm going to become angry, I should nip it at the bud, either by removing myself from situation or by taking some proper caution, because once it picks up, it increases further. It's like you're putting fuel in fire. And soon it will come in bodily level. Hands start moving. And then you find sometimes the brahmachari is beating up each other. Rarely, though it rarely happens, but it does happen. Because it aggravates, it does not reduce. Terror. Prabhupada writes that one who falls under the control of anger becomes a source of dread for all others. So Swayambhu Manu teaches Dhruva when Dhruva became excessively angry that Prabhupada writes, a person who desires liberation from this material world should not fall under the control of anger, because when bewildered by anger, one becomes a source of dread for all others. You see, when somebody becomes angry now, we don't feel like giving correction, giving any feedback. Most pitiable situation it is for that sadhaka. If somebody is hesitating to give me correction and feedback, it is pitiable situation for me. There is no hope for me to grow. So it's very important that I don't develop the swabhava of becoming angry, so that anybody and everybody comes, feels free to come and give me correction and feedback, so that I keep working out in my life of sadhaka. So subsequently we find that Dhruva Maharaj did not become angry at whom? At Swayambhu Manu. As a result of which he attracted the grace of Kuvera. And he asked Kuvera that bless me with the blessing of the association of Vaishnavas for devotional service. So we can receive feedbacks and correction also properly like Dhruva when we try to keep ourselves away from this dirty quality of anger. Some consequences, further consequences, one becomes hard-hearted. Just like we find a daughter is burning in front of eyes in flames and the father is simply watching. Was he really her father? So one practical application is, this is the difference between the path of bhakti and path of the other paths. Karma Kandi Yajnas he was attached to, Daksha. And on the other side was Vaishnava Navatha Sambhuddha, somebody who is fixed on the path of devotional service. So when you are fixed on the path of devotional service, then only you will be able to develop soft heart, which is required to attract Krishna's grace in our life. So it's very, very important that our heart should become soft by a practice of bhakti, by chanting holy names, by reading Bhagavatam, by serving Vaishnavas, by doing menial services. Otherwise, we may be watering the weeds on the name of watering the Bhakti Lata beach. And then what happens after years and years of practice also, after years and years of chanting and reading Bhagavatam also, the heart will be very hard. There will be envy and jealous and duplicity and politics mentality in heart. Mother chastising the child to die. Which mother? Suruchi chastising. Of course, I say that she is better than modern mother, because modern mother is killing in womb only. At least Suruchi did not do abortion. She's telling them to die and take rebirth. Insensitivity develops. One suffers more. See, this is the section of our Sati is telling that I want to go, and Shiva is telling, don't go. You will get severe chastisement there. Then Sati is telling, no problem, I'll tolerate it. Then Lord Shiva tells there, one suffers more due to harsh words of a relative than due to the sharp arrows of an enemy. Because the sharp arrows will just pierce our heart at once and kill us, but the sharp words pierce day after day, night after night, year after year. And it keeps ringing in our ears that he spoke to me like this many years before. So this becomes more painful. So hence it's very important that we don't become the cause of that kind of pain to some other Vaishnava by speaking harshly and by piercing the arrow of harsh words in somebody's heart. Prabhupada gives beautiful example of broken pot. Once it's broken, it cannot be repaired. The shloka says, Suruchya durvacho baner. सुरुचि के दुर्वचन के जो बाण थे वो ध्रुव के दिल में ऐसे लगे जैसे ध्रुव को पूरा उसने हिला दिया. इसलिए very important that we don't shoot this kind of arrows. The arrows of harsh words. Some more consequences. We become very neglectful when we become angry, and as a result of which we find that this kind of result of the Daksha, he fell down. He fell down from his prestigious position of being Prajapati of the universe to such a state that he actually became goat. He attracted the curse of Nandi by being offensive to Shiva. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado. So when we become offensive to, it's told that Hari sane aparadhe tare hari naam tuma sane aparadhe nahi paritran. That if we commit offense to Lord, that is much better than committing Vaishnava aparadh. If you commit offense to Lord, Lord will forgive. Lord will not take seriously. But if you commit offense to a Vaishnava, Lord takes very seriously. So he became goat. So what should be done? How to overcome? Prabhupada says beautifully in purport of 4.4.10, Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jane. Great quality anger is a great quality if it's used in rightly in service. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Ramchandra Puri criticized, he just manifested the quality of Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Saishnuna Manina Manadena Kirtanya Sadar. But when Nityananda Prabhu was bleeding, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu still practiced the same verse in a different way. See, we should not see this action as not Trinadapi Sunichena. This is also Trinadapi Sunichena. Why? Because it's being used when a Vaishnava or Lord is offended. So it must be used. You find Arjuna was hesitant to fight on his own account. But when the thing come to fighting for Lord's account, Arjuna gave up his hesitation and he fought vigorously and killed his own relatives. So you are still Trinadapi Sunichena. You are still a Vaishnava. You are the Vaishnava of higher degree. Because he utilized Krodha in service of Lord. We find Hanuman, great warrior, burned the entire city of Lanka in service of Lord Ram. So when this quality is utilized in service of Lord, it becomes a great quality. You find Lord utilizing his anger against Durvasa Muni when Durvasa Muni offended Ambarish Maharaj. The Lord is also showing by his behavior that, my dear sadhakas, utilize this quality, then only you will be able to curtail it. But utilize not against the devotees in ashram, but against the Mayavadis, the atheists, the blasphemers, the offenders of Vaishnavas and devotees and Lord. So it's a great quality if it is utilized rightly in service. Srila Prabhupada also writes beautifully about this quality. He writes about the duties of king. Prabhupada says that the duty of the king to become angry for the purpose of keeping law and order in the state. It is a misunderstanding. See, we find that Parikshit Maharaj, he took out his sword on Kali when he saw Kali ruthlessly killing the cow and bull, beating the cow and bull. So was he not Vaishnava? Was he not angry? He was angry, but that anger is not anger of three modes. Anger which is channelized towards in service of Lord is no more in modes. But when it's not channelized in service of Lord, it will force us to drag us to the mode of passion. And it becomes passionate anger, which becomes the cause of bondage. We find Prithu Maharaj was ready to kill. Yesterday, our Ram Vijayapura was telling a beautiful example of Prithu Maharaj was chasing the mother cow, and he's telling that I'll cut you and feed to my citizens if you don't produce the grains. That angry he was, but that anger was in service of the Lord, in service of the people in general. So when anger is channelized rightly in service attitude, it becomes a cause of fame, opulence, glory, according to Guru Sadhu Shastras. Dhruva, becoming angry, went out for victory over the Yakshas. Prabhupada says it is duty of the king. 5 minutes left. So we should not tolerate the irreligious systems like that. It can be used. Prabhupada also gives nice example of angry master. Prabhupada says that the master must become angry at the servant. Like it's a master's mercy on the servants. Just like Balram killing Romaharshan, Krishna killing so many demons. So it's a mercy. It's not anger. तथैव चान्ये नरलोकवीराय आहवे कृष्णमुखारविन्दं नेत्रे पिबन्ते नयनाभिरामं पार्थास्त्रपूत पदमापुरस्य. So this quality of anger which was manifested in Lord and Arjuna became the cause of liberation of those who were killed. But can I also liberate by becoming angry? No, then I should not become angry. And if at all I want to use, I should use it only in service of Lord. By killing the atheistic mentality, not people. Mentality of the people. Blasphemous mentality of the people. So Prabhupada says that should sadhu not become angry? People say, "Arey Maharaj, aap itna gussa kyun ho gaye?" Sarlakshan Prabhu bol rahe ki train mein logon ne, "Arey sadhu kaisa gussa ho raha hai?" But they are neophytes. They don't understand the anger of a Vaishnava. The Vaishnava does become angry. Narad Muni became angry on Nal Kuber and Manigriv. But what was the result of his anger? The result of the anger was deliverance of Nal Kuber and Manigriv. It's the compassionate heart of a Vaishnava when he becomes angry. So anger out of passion is bad. Anger out of compassion is glorious and good. Mother cursing the child, that was the mood of Mother Parvati when she was cursing Chitraketu Maharaj. So there can be other cause of anger also, that is the divine will of the Lord. Because Lord wanted Chitraketu Maharaj to ascend to the supreme abode as soon as possible. So when there is mischief, we should kill the miscreants. Prabhupada says, a devotee should not forget to become angry, at least for the time being, in order to drive away the miscreants. Prabhupada writes this clearly in purport. Modeta sadhurapi vishrika sarpa hatya. We should derive joy when scorpion or snake is killed. Prahlad Maharaj became so glorious, jubilant, when who was killed? Hiranyakashipu was killed. So we should derive joy when anger is utilized towards Mayavadis, towards offenders, towards blasphemers. Quality of tolerance. We find great devotees cannot be called great unless they manifest the quality of tolerance. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tolerated the insult of Ramchandra Puri. Haridas Thakur tolerated the severe beatings of these Mlecha Yavanas in 22 marketplaces. Prahlad Maharaj tolerated. Lord Shiva tolerating insults. The famous shloka, Tiraskrita vipralabdha shapta shipta tapi nase tat pratikurvanti tat bhakta prabhuvopihi. Vaishnava does not retaliate even if defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, or even killed. That is the quality of tolerance of a Vaishnava. But this tolerance is not possible unless we practice the path of bhakti. So tolerance should not be towards Lord and devotees. Tolerance should be for ourselves. For insult for myself, I should tolerate. Insult for Vaishnava and devotees, I should not tolerate. Otherwise, ours becomes opposite. We tolerate the insult of Vaishnava and devotees and Lord, but don't tolerate our insult. It should be opposite. Srila Prabhupada would become severe, fiery while criticizing the Mayavadis. So was he not humble? He was actually humble. Lord Shiva kept silent when Daksha criticized himself, but when Sati was killed, Shiva was out of control. He created Veerbhadra, and it was so severe reaction to Daksha that Shiva did not mind, because that was engaged in service. Sati was a Vaishnavi. How to overcome or developing tolerance? We should remember the example of B. See the good qualities in everyone. Good qualities seeing in everyone, it will help us to develop tolerance. See the good quality, the brighter side of a Vaishnava, not see the other side. Prabhupada says in 423rd purport, it is said that forgiveness is a quality of those who are advancing in spiritual life, in spiritual knowledge. Ours is preaching movement, Prabhus. If you don't tolerate, it will be I'll be cutting out a very sorry figure out of myself. Once I was doing Harinam and a person was drunk, he came and behind slapped me. And public was looking at me. Abhi ye Maharaj देखेंगे क्या करते हैं. Now, if I become angry there, then I'll cut out sorry figure for myself, Prabhu. So it's a preaching movement. We have to, sooner or later, if you want to preach and continue in this movement, we have to develop the quality of tolerance. So better to learn from the example of Lord Shiva and develop it. A person situated in the mode of goodness can practice tolerance. We'll be just ending now. Titikshaya karunaya maitriya chakila jantashu samatvena cha sarvatma bhagwan samprasidati. Krishna is telling how you can please me. Greet other people with tolerance. Who? Superiors. We have to tolerate whom? Generally superiors. And we have to be friendship. Maitriya chakila jantashu. Friendship with equals. Mercy towards subordinates. And equality towards all the other species. It's an easy formula to protect ourselves from Vaishnava aparadh and to please the Lord. Others have tolerated me, so I should also tolerate others. If I don't tolerate others, I cannot expect Krishna and Gurudev to tolerate my shortcomings. So Lord, when spiritual master sees how much I am tolerating others, if I tolerate others, then only I will be tolerated. All these qualities become easy to develop when you practice the path of bhakti properly. Mere knowledge is not sufficient, but chanting our rounds with proper quality, attending our morning program with proper consciousness, receiving the gifts of Prabhupada with proper consciousness will help us to develop these all qualities rightly. And that's the path of bhakti, which will uproot all the anarthas right from the root. Otherwise, rest all artificial tolerance, artificial practices may give some temporary disappearance of the anarthas, but the anarthas are completely uprooted only when you take up the path of bhakti. Niharamiva bhaskara. Just like the sun dissipates the fog, the path of bhakti, the glorious path of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare, will give us true tolerance and true awareness of anger. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, because of my past karma or past tendencies, I usually become angry, suppose, with devotees. So I am living with the devotees, so I have to be angry on devotees only. So that time one may think that it is better to be live with the non-devotees. So at least I cannot offend the devotees. If someone is in water, it is usually going to be, he's going to be wet. So better to he can live in the desert. So
You can live with the?
He can live on the land.
Uh-huh.
So for such persons, what you suggest?
Very good question. Actually, the question is that if I'm living with devotees, where to dovetail? So one thing is we should go outside and preach. When you go outside on book distribution and you go outside on Harinam, you will easily get good vent to give your anger by cutting the ignorance of the people. by cutting the atheistic mentality of the people. So when we don't go out and we don't express our anger outside on their mentality of atheism, we will be forced to show it to devotees. The easy way to vent it out, Prabhu, to go out on Harinam and go out on book distribution in those areas where people are least receptive. You go in the drunkard area and do Harinam there and face them. And then you express your anger to cut their ignorance and to cut their atheistic mentality. Otherwise, all problems will happen if you remain inside. That's what is being told here. We have to go out. Prabhupada went out, na? So we should also go out. Yeah, there is no other solution, Prabhu. Otherwise, we'll remain inside and keep fighting. Agun Jolben. There will be fire in ashram. There is no other solution. Hanuman went out. Lanka. Arjuna went on in battle. So it cannot be curtailed if you remain in ashram. You have to go out. Sorry if I spoke little.
Hare Krishna. You mentioned in the class that character of a person is known when power is given to him. So yes, in the beginning, devotees come with a devotional attitude only. And of course, anyone who is coming has some contamination in his heart, but he comes with good devotional attitude. No one comes with bad attitude. But what happens is, I mean, as he comes and on the name of service, he gets the power. And that time, his inner contamination comes out, which he doesn't want, but it happens. So at the same, so one has to do service also. And for the sake of service, power is given. But because power is given, so his inner contamination comes out. So how to handle that inner contamination gets purified and the service is done?
Very good question. Actually, we should always try to go to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is we don't read Srila Prabhupada books daily. And we don't struggle to chant or improve the quality of our chanting. So the sadhaka feels now that, oh, now I have come to ISKCON, now I'll go back to Godhead. It is just like taking admission in IIT, now everything will happen. No, now the process begins. So we should not be too much shocked when an artha is coming out. If an artha is coming out, I should feel great joy that now the process is working. Now here's an opportunity for me to take up my course, the engineering of devotional service, to improve the quality of my japa, to improve the quality of my sadhana, to improve the consistency in my reading of Srila Prabhupada books, to improve the consistency in my outgoing activities. Simple program Prabhupada is given if you put faith on this and maintain consistency on this. By endeavoring to improve the quality of our japa, sitting at one place and chanting, completing our rounds before, not sleeping in daytime, maintaining regulated lifestyle, keeping a healthy association around, never criticizing, never fault finding. It's a science, it will work. Anarthas will take time, but you will not feel discouraged. You will feel encouraged. Because these anarthas are not to discourage us, but it's mercy of Lord to encourage us to continue taking our baby steps towards Him. But this vision becomes blur if sadhana is weak, if morning program is not consciously being done. The poison begins from here itself. Gradually it ends up in fault finding, politics, dirty association. And then it becomes further discouraged and ends up saying, oh, this devotional service is not working. Let me leave, pack my luggage and go. So if you read Srila Prabhupada books daily, if you do morning program, consciously do. And we try to be, if I'm not outgoing person, let me assist the other devotees who are doing. Let me take a backup role and do, like Proji said, everything is preaching. So let me do it in that consciousness. It is science. It will work. You will feel more encouraged if he does like this. You will never be disheartened. So, simple question we should ask. Are you reading Prabhupada books daily? Are you chanting around, sitting at one place? Are you trying to do at least? Are you attending morning program if you don't have services? Are you there in front of Prabhupada and Prabhupada is being worshipped in morning? Ask this question. Huh? Answer will come.
Yes.
I should.
Salvation Prabhu, anything.
Hare Krishna. Sudhamanath Prabhu is very enthusiastic preacher. So his presentation was very nice, and all the PPT is also very nice. And the only thing I thought that it should be improved, that the way you have answered the questions for both the devotees should be in a different way. Like when His Grace Ranchard Prabhu asked the question, like some of the devotees, they may not go out for preaching and they have to be in temple 24 hours. But Ranchan Prabhu is preaching so nicely. That is a different thing. But when somebody is asking this kind of question, and if we say that you have to go out, that is the only way. No.
It's wrong.
Yeah. So when some devotees are doing some services, so they are dedicatedly doing service. So, and they have to be in temple 24 hours. So it may happen that it's not that when we are doing practicing devotional service, all of a sudden it may take lifetimes. So it may happen that we have to use our anger. It's not that anger is only for outsiders. Even in devotional service also, we have to use some anger. Like when we are managing some things, our Aniruddha Prabhu, he was very heavy with us. But why, how when I was cooking, I have practical experience that when I was cooking under His Grace Aniruddha Prabhu, first time he used to tolerate, second time also he will tolerate. Third time, if I commit the same mistake, he will chastise heavily. And we have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, these times of anger, and we have to see, and we have to use that also according to time, like circumstances, we have to do that.
Yeah.
It's not that only by going out or
Correct.
preaching only we will
Correct.
after facing all outsiders in the, then only we will become feared. No. So some devotees may have this quality that they may not be extrovert, they may be introvert. So it's not that they cannot practice Krishna consciousness. There are so many hundreds of services which they can do inside the temple.
Yeah.
That is one thing. And another thing, when you want to say something?
I wanted to say that when Raksha Prabhuji was asking that question, I got 2 points in my mind. So I ended up the second answering only the second part. The first part was consisting of this answer. If somebody is always inside, he should have some Vaishnava relationship with whom he can share his heart so that he can vent out those ill feelings to safeguard himself from committing Vaishnava upras within Vaishnava association. That is for inside devotees. I completely agree. There are devotees who cannot go out. They have to be inside only, though they wish to go out. So in such a healthy Vaishnava relationship will also help us to curtail this quality of anger. So if you have sweet relation at least with 1 or 2 devotees with whom we can share, open our heart properly, then it will be easy for us to open our heart in an ugly way towards the other devotee and often devotees.
Yeah, another thing, sorry. Another
I
thing.
just added, I receive it.
Another thing is Grace, Gauriel Prabhu asked this question. So you are told that a post position is given.
Then why they become carried away?
Yeah. So that time also, there are some, actually, It's not that when we, just like our His Grace Dirshan Prabhu was also telling that you have to do morning program and this and that and that. Everything we are already doing.
Hmm.
But still, it may happen that we may become anger. So when somebody is given post and position, even after having all the morning program, attending Bhagavatam class, doing Harinam, everything, is there any guarantee that he will not become angry?
But the question was
No,
different.
first, let me clear. So
You will become angry.
we will become angry.
Yeah.
So practical solution is that when somebody is appointed as a manager, we should at the same time we have to arrange some training program, how to handle the things systematically. The training program is there even inside our Krishna consciousness. So practical solution also could have been given.
You
in
should
the-
join Bhakti Yoga
Yes.
classes and attend.
No, Bhakti Vedanta is a spiritual courses. At the same time, some managerial courses, those who are appointed as a manager. So that simultaneously, we should read Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, that courses are also there. But at the same time, we can attend some managerial, because he's coming from a background, he's already managing some things in outside. So those qualities are already there. And because of not having that Vaishnava training, so there is difference. When we are outside, you are MBA, you are qualified. So when you come to Krishna consciousness, the management is different totally. Your degree will work simultaneously, definitely, but it in a different way, you can
Different.
use that. Okay.
Right.
Sorry.
No,
Actually,
we wanted to
otherwise you are very
wanted-
tolerant, and you have quoted that somebody slapped you, but still you tolerated. You are already, tolerant and very nice, and you are always blissful. I take inspiration from you. Every day you are going for book distribution and Harinam also, and always blissful face. I have interaction with you last time during book distribution. Prabhuji is distributing books even to Muslims. What to speak of normal people. Always smiling. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thanks. Please forgive me, bro. Wherever I agree, I spoke little heavy, but please pray that I develop these two qualities. I become tolerant and never become angry on Vaishnavas. Like, all of you are actually in this batch. All are senior to me, but just a service I told. But maybe due to my conditioning which are there in heart, I might have told in a little high volume.
I was happy to hear from you. First time I am hearing from you. Of course, I have seen your enthusiastic chanting and dancing earlier, but today I heard your enthusiastic speaking also. So it was very good. I simply offer my prayers that your enthusiasm keeps growing more and more, and you keep growing more and more in devotion also, and preach the mission of Srila Prabhupada very well. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai. So we can have break for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. दो लोगों का है, 5 मिनट ब्रेक दे के कर लेते ना, 5-6 मिनट सबका एक। हाँ, कौन है थर्ड और फोर्थ पर्सन कौन है? अच्छा, ठीक है, तो क्या करें, पहले प्रेजेंटेशन करके फिर गायत्री होते रहेगा। हाँ चलो प्रेजेंटेशन कर लो। Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नमस्ते सारस्वतदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशताम्. So first of all, I would like to seek the blessings of all the devotees who are present here, online as well as online. So today's my topic for presentation, thematic presentation is from fourth canto, applying rules according to time and place, the context of Srila Prabhupada's application of Narada's instructions in the fourth canto in the West. So in the first two cantos, major philosophical concepts have been discussed, and in the third and fourth cantos, various personalities were introduced: Vidura, Maitreya, Devahuti, Kapila. And in the fourth canto, Shiva, Lord Shiva, Daksha, and Sati, Dhruv Maharaj, Prachina Varhi, Prithu Maharaj. So many wonderful characters, and there are so many lessons we can learn from these characters. So we'll just go through. So in the fourth canto, Narada Muni gives instructions to Dhruv Maharaj, Prachina Varhi, and as well as Parachatyas. And we can see a little bit about Narada Muni, how he preached from womb to tomb. And what Srila Prabhupada did in the West for preaching the message of Krishna consciousness. And how he applied, that also we'll see. And we'll see some principles, how it has been implemented by Srila Prabhupada. And finally, we conclude. So going ahead. So in the first few chapters, Narada Muni instructs Dhruva Maharaj when he comes to know that a sincere seeker is going into the forest in the search of God. And Prabhupada writes in the purport that a pure devotee of the Lord knows, because in his heart, Lord is always there, and he inspires the pure devotee to go and instruct a sincere devotee. So whenever sincere devotees are there, Krishna will definitely guide him to the proper proper guru, spiritual master. So, and in the second part, Prachin Varshid, he was instructed by Narada Muni, because he was completely absorbed in performing various material activities, material sacrifices. So Narada Muni comes and he tells the story of Puranjan. And later, when he was not able to understand, he explains that, and while explaining, he again tells the story of a deer. And also Narada Muni instructs the children of our Prachina Barhi, Prachatas, 10 Prachatas, and finally they go back to the Godhead. So what Prabhupada tells about the application of rules as per time and place. So Prabhupada gives very nice examples that an expert physician does not make any compromise with the patient by allowing him to take partially what he should not at all take. So only an expert knows where, how much a medicine should be taken, how much, when, how many times it has to be taken. So just by going to a medical shop, we know some medicine we cannot take. It is not good for our health. So only expert knows. So similarly, an acharya knows how to adjust the rules given in the scriptures for the benefit of the humanity. And another quote by Prabhupada: expert devotees also can discover novel ways and means to convert the non-devotees in terms of particular time and circumstance. And this we can see even in Abrahamic religions, which flourished in the other parts of the world, like Jesus and Muhammad. They also preached the message of God as per the time, place, and circumstances. An acharya who comes for the service of the Lord cannot be expected to conform to stereotype, for he must find the ways and means by which Krishna consciousness may be spread. Because the purpose of the messenger of God or a pure devotee coming to this world is to spread Krishna consciousness. So he comes here out of his compassion and he wants to spread the mercy of the Lord to all the living entities. So he is always eager to find different ways and means to make common people into devotees. The method, and sometimes you can see this also. The method of one acharya may be different from that of another, but the ultimate goal is never neglected. So sometimes we may see this kind of contradiction among different acharyas. Some have taken up, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or before him, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, Gaurkishore Maharaj. They preach in a different way by practicing very sincerely strict sadhana, and they inspired many to become devotees. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he went out and preached. He went to different towns, villages, and started Namahatas. And Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he was using all modern gadgets. He was wearing sometimes coat and suit to meet officials, Britishers, to influence them and to take up to Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada, he went across the 7 oceans. As a sannyasi, actually, as per scriptures, sannyasi should not cross over the oceans, but he has done that for the purpose of preaching. Tasmat kenabhupayana mana Krishna veshyet. That is the purpose. Find out some means to make people absorbed in Krishna consciousness or take up to Krishna consciousness. An acharya should devise a means by which people may somehow or other come to Krishna consciousness. First, they should become Krishna conscious, and all the prescribed rules and regulations. So, Prabhupada, if you see Prabhupada's life, many times he has told them to chant Hare Krishna and take prasadam. But later he introduced the rules. Even when he gave the first initiation for the 12 devotees, he did not tell what all rules have to be followed by the newly initiated devotees, disciples. Next day, he has put up the notice board, what all they have to do. So, because Acharya has more faith in the holy name and Lord, mercy, than just giving the rules. So, first we make we make people to accept Krishna consciousness, and then slowly they take up the rules. We can see in our own lives also. All of us started chanting and they never told. Even sometimes when I was studying in my college, Naam Prabhu, Alnath Prabhu, they used to come. And I used to give them excuse. Prabhu, I did not take bath. Or my room is not clean. But they said, no problem, you just chant one round. And in that way, they encourage. So a preacher is more focused on giving the Krishna consciousness than just following the rules. Once you get purified by chanting the holy names, slowly you come from the mode of ignorance to the mode of goodness, and slowly you accept all the rules and practice them. So in the verse in focus for the today's discussion is 4.854. This goes like this. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Mantrenanena Devasya Kuryad Dravyamayim Buddha Saparyam Vividhair Dravyer Deshakala Vibhagavit. So the highlight is this should be done in consideration according to the rules and regulations prescribed by the authorities. This should be done in consideration of place, time, and attendant conveniences and inconveniences. So there is another verse, similar verse, which comes in first canto in Bhishma Dev's section, when he received all the kings and Pandavas when he was on the deathbed just before leaving his body. There also the same line comes, Desha Kala Vibhagat, because he knows perfectly all the religious principles and how to apply them according to time, place, and circumstances. And we may think that this adjustment of principles is just somebody has started, as maybe Bhishma Pitama has started. No, it has come before that also, because Krishna himself gave, from this verse we can see, Krite yadhyayato vishnum tretayam yatato makai dvapare paricharyayam kalau tad hari kirtanat. So this kind of time, place, and circumstance has been followed by Krishna also. He knows. So what kind of people are there in Satyuga and what they need to practice or to take up Krishna consciousness seriously. And similarly in other yugas, Treta Yuga, Dvapara, and especially in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, Tad Hari Kirtana, that Hari Kirtana of that Hari is that sufficient to take one back to Godhead, offenseless chanting. So this has been given by Krishna only. So Acharyas follow not their own mind, but they follow Krishna's heart. They understand the heart of Krishna, how Krishna is merciful, how he wants everyone to become devotee and come back to him and serve him, be happy. So Acharya understands his heart and he practices. It keeps them in practice. So in this important verse, certain points we have highlighted and we will discuss about them. So in that particular verse, Narad Muni was instructing Dhruva Maharaj to worship by chanting mantra. So normally mantras are those which start with the syllables that bija mantras, bijas. They're like Om, all of us are second initiated. Om, Klim, all these are bijas. These should be chanted only when one receives from a bona fide spiritual master. But Hare Krishna mantra, anyone can chant. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given this Hare Krishna mantra for everyone and anyone. And Srila Prabhupada has followed the same thing. With the same faith, he went to the US in the West and he just chanted, sitting below a tree, taking his two symbols, and he was chanting Hare Krishna with full faith. And so many people got attracted and many people started following. And then slowly this ISKCON movement started and spread. So another point here, Prabhupada was mentioning in that same purport is there are certain things which are convenient in India and some are not convenient in the Western countries. So especially if you see the weather conditions in Western countries, very extremes, and India is not so extreme; it's moderate and sometimes extreme, but in the Western countries so extreme. So Prabhupada has to give leverage to encourage the devotees to take up to Krishna consciousness. And in the purport, Prabhupada tells that how people who are stereotype or who are orthodox or conservative, they blaspheme or they talk ill about the persons who are preaching this mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, taking great risk. Of course, Prabhupada supports his argument and argument of the Shastras by another Acharya, that the formalities may be slightly changed here and there to make them Vaishnavas. So Prabhupada has exactly followed the Shastras and as well as other Acharyas. He was in line with other Acharyas. Even you can see here, Viragava Acharya is from Ramanuja Sampradaya. In the next purport, Prabhupada says that in the Western countries, we don't have Yamuna and Ganges. These rivers are considered very pure. And for deity worship, we need them. So if you don't have this water, like starting from Achaman, before starting any deity worship, we have to do Achaman. So if we don't have Ganges water, how to do that worship? Or should we stop? No, there are specifications given in the scriptures that we can make that water into Ganges water. We can invite all the sacred waters into the water by reciting the verses Gange Chemane Jai Godavari Sarmada Sindhu Kaveri Jalismin Sanidham Karu. So like that, we can find there are sections in the scriptures through which we can practice devotional service. And even this about flowers, garlands, there is no Tulsi in the Western countries. So how? Because Tulsi Krishna Prayasi. If you make any offering without Tulsi, Krishna may or may not accept. But with Tulsi, Krishna is eager to accept it. But that Tulsi doesn't grow in the foreign countries. And Prabhupada writes in the 4th canto, in the same section, that by the efforts of one of his disciple, Govinda Devi Mataji, this Tulsi Maharani has been brought to the West and it is flourishing. So same thing is given here. So There are many other verses which I could not mention here, I could not show here, but I have it with me. So Prabhupada, in these instructions, in the 3 sections, if you see Dhruva Maharaj and Prachin Varhi and Prachetas, I have taken some instructions on which we can discuss. So for Dhruva Maharaj, he told about chanting the mantra as well as worshipping the deity. So for chanting, if you see in the earlier ages, if you we remember that how even Ramanujacharya, he has given this mantra to everyone and anyone, though his spiritual master forbidden him that you should not give, it's very secret, you should only keep it with you. But still he went to the top of that temple and he loudly he called all the people and chanted this mantra very loudly so that all people get benefited. So this is the mercy of an Acharya. Acharya always, or a pure devotee of the Lord always wants to give this mercy to everyone without any restriction. For that sake, he may go to even to hell. He is ready to do that. And even if you see Prabhupada, one Umapati Maharaj was telling that one day they initiated devotees, initial first set of devotees. They asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada said one morning that now onwards you should chant 64 rounds. So everyone got surprised, taken aback. Chant 64 rounds? Then they said, no, Prabhupada. So then Prabhupada said, then he paused and he said, okay, 32 rounds. Still, devotees were not happy, or they were not so ready to chant 32 rounds. They know that it takes long time for them. Then Prabhupada said 16, no less. And everyone was okay, happy. So Prabhupada has adjusted this because during Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati time also, they were chanting 64 rounds, many of them. But here Prabhupada, seeing the condition of the disciples and those who are especially in the West, who are mostly in Tamoguna before coming to Krishna consciousness, it's very difficult for them to chant 64 rounds, even 32 rounds. But for them, Prabhupada has given the concession to chant 16 rounds and not less than that every day. So Prabhupada, considering their condition, he applied the rules, but at the same time, for the convenience of the Western devotees. And another thing was practice of deity worship, execution of deity worship. So Prabhupada has taken the deities from India to America. Of course, first set of deities, Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, came from Malati Mataji. And Prabhupada started a very simple worship by he asked to assemble all the devotees and used to give one candle, and only one candle was there, and with one candle they used to worship 7 times to all the deities. And then he offered 1 or 2 apples and he used to cut them and to distribute to all the devotees. So even though deity worship is very elaborate, if you see in India, if you go to Udupi, Prabhuji knows, or Nathwara, or any South Indian temples, it's very elaborate. It takes long hours and it is very opulent. But Prabhupada, just to give them a taste for devotional service, Prabhupada allowed them to offer these simple items to the Lord. Of course, Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Tom, Yome Vyakcha Prayachat, Ashnami. Krishna says that I accept all these items, even if it is a flower, fruit, water, and a leaf, tulsi leaf, if it is offered with love and devotion. So because Prabhupada understands the essence of the Shastras, he allowed all the devotees or new devotees in the West to take up to deity worship. And Sachinanda Maharaj was telling in one of the lecture that earlier deity worship means even the dressing part. He was telling actually that during morning time, Prabhupada recommended everyone to sit in front of the deities and chant their 16 rounds. So then Maharaj was telling how it is early morning, 5 o'clock. So Maharaj was telling that time, deity worship was not so elaborate. Even dressing used to be over in 30 minutes. So first used to chant all the devotees, even pujas, everyone who used to sit and chant 16 rounds, and then last half an hour, they used to go and dress the deities. And actually, Krishna Prabhu was telling, he was going through Prabhupada lectures and letters. So he was telling that one devotee asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, how much time it requires to do actual worship? Prabhupada said, it's 45 minutes to 1 hour. It's okay. So that is initial stages. So that time it was not so elaborate. So devotees were made enthused to take up to the process of Krishna consciousness. And once they became serious, then Prabhupada told them, you go to Radharaman temple and learn the deity worship. It is also very elaborate. You might be knowing that one Goswamiji came here. I don't remember his name. He came and he gave elaborate sessions also. So in this way, deity worship, which was very simple in the beginning, it became opulent now. Even in our temple, we can see it takes around 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours every day. So giving principles in a simpler way to the new devotees or new people and make them get attached or attracted to that anga of the devotional service, then slowly Prabhupada give them the elaborate details of that particular devotional service, maybe deity worship or maybe kirtan also. Earlier it was very simple, but slowly Prabhupada allowed everyone to play, bring their own instruments and play. And even Prabhupada had recordings also. So in this way, Prabhupada was always seeking the essence and giving the essence to the devotees in the West. And if you see another point Prabhupada mentions in another thing was like many of the stereotype Indians were always thinking that only Indians can become Vaishnavas. And others cannot be made into Vaishnavas or Brahmanas, even for that matter. But Prabhupada many times tells that this movement is meant to make people into Brahmanas, or to say exactly Vaishnavas. Vaishnava is above a Brahmana also. So many people were against this. How people can be made? They have taken birth in such Yavana and Mlecha regions. How can they made? But Prabhupada made it. Prabhupada has shown this, that by giving this devotional service in an appropriate manner, even people from such backgrounds can become devotees. They can become Vaishnavas of high class. They become gurus now. They're spreading this holy name, this Vedic culture all over the world. So this also we have to see that how Prabhupada has adjusted or encouraged to take up to Krishna consciousness, to become Vaishnavas, to become Brahmanas. And in one of the purports, of course, regarding this, Prabhupada quotes Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami, that how that there is a verse from Hari Bhakti Vilas. Yata kanchanam yati kasyam rasa vidhanatau tatha diksha vidhanena dijatva jayate nasham. What does this mean? That even a bell metal be turned into gold by the use of mercury. So similarly, by the process of this diksha, a person can be made into a devotee. He can be purified. So Sanatana Goswami quotes in this in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Prabhupada also tells in one of the purports. So this diksha ceremony, which was very elaborate earlier, that also Prabhupada made very simple. How he made? Chant 16 rounds daily, follow 4 regulative principles, then it can be given diksha. That's how you can see many of the letters where the temple president recommends different devotees that this is a new boy, but he's chanting 16 rounds for last so many months, and we recommend him for initiation. And Prabhupada used to give them initiation, which was very elaborate earlier. If we see, even Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, to get initiation, he has to do so much. It was not so easy that time. But Prabhupada made it very easy. And he himself accepted around 6,000 disciples in a short span of 10 years. And one more thing, Prabhupada was talking while giving instructions to Prachetas, not Prachetas, this Dromara section only, about Gurukul system. He talks about Gurukul system, education system, that how it is so important. So he started Gurukuls in the West. He started first in the Western countries, New Virginia, West Virginia, New Vrindavan, and other places. And through that, he wanted to give Vedic education, Sanatan Dharma, to the children right from their tender age. So this also is a very innovative, or it is also very exceptional, because no one has did this in the past. Only Prabhupada could do it. And he has given the guidelines for them, what to taught, how to taught and all. And there are some other 2-3 points in the later parts, Prachin Varshi section, and that in one purport, in one verse says that that Malaya Dvaja in the Puranjana section, in the second, when in Prachin Varshi was asking to explain Puranjana section once again, he tells what all the characters and all, and there he tells one verse comes where the Malayadwaj wife of Vaidarbi has to Malayadwaja dies, and Vaidarbi has to also was ready to die with the body of Malayadwaja. So there Prabhupada writes that it's not so necessary that everyone should, like wife should die, but it is the affection because of which she wants to die after her husband leaves the body. So then there Prabhupada tells that similarly a disciple, he is ready to lie down his life for fulfilling the desire of his spiritual master. So Prabhupada actually, why he has done all this? He has to face so much of criticism from his Indian counterparts, from his own god brothers. But why he has done? At the risk of his own, sometimes he has got life threats also when he was in India, even sometimes in America also. Why he has done? Just to please and fulfill his spiritual master's desires. He has given instruction. You are a young English-speaking man. You should go and preach this message in English all over the world. So this is how Prabhupada has done many adjustments. Like he started the love feast, Sunday feast, which was very simple here. Prasad means, we know in all temples, they give little bit prasad in their hands. But once they come to ISKCON, they understand prasad means they give in full plate. So that was started by Prabhupada only. So in this way, in many ways, Prabhupada encouraged the Western people who did not know anything about the Indian culture to take up to Krishna consciousness and become serious devotees and make their life perfect. So some principles by Prabhupada were that, he considered the time, place, and circumstances, and he always focused Krishna, because he never talked about God. Prabhupada always mentioned Krishna. So, and Prabhupada himself followed the personal purity. He followed all the regulations and set an example. And these are just photos that what Narad Muni preaching Parachini Varishi Kayadu from womb to tomb earlier, what I said. Even Murugari, Prachetas, Haryasva, Shravayasva. So to conclude, this is very important to apply these rules as per the time, place, and circumstances, so that Krishna consciousness spread all over the world, and it will be accessible to everyone. And for this, Srila Prabhupada himself is a very good example, who was successful in giving whole world Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions?
Hare Krishna. You presented very well. So, as this topic goes, applying the rules as per time, place, and situation. So when we apply the rules as per time, place, and situation, there is always the chance of compromising the rules. So how to ensure that I am applying the rules as per time, place, but not compromising with it?
Very relevant question, Prabhu. Everyone can expect. I also expected. Yes, there should be some balance. And as I told during presentation, Prabhupada, whenever he did any adjustment, like he was quoting Srila Viraraghavacharya. So it is in confirmation with the earlier acharyas, and he's also in confirmation with the Shastras. So only an acharya can do this adjustment, not everyone and anyone. So for making some adjustment, he should be of that caliber. Srila Prabhupada is of that capacity. He has that capacity. He's a very scholar and a very pure devotee of the Lord. He was blessed by his spiritual master. So only those who are supposed to do, they should only do that adjustment, so that there is no discrepancy in the rules, application of the rules. Oh.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, nice presentation. My question was like when we see Srila Prabhupada's life. So as far as deity worship, all these things, Prabhupada, initially he was giving very few means rules and regulations, and later he increased. But as far as chanting is concerned, for the Westerners, he introduced 64 rounds. Then he reduced.
Yes.
So can you please tell me why this is like that? For chanting, initially he gave more, then he reduced. But for this deity worship, initially he gave less and then he increased. So what is the ideology Prabhupada used here?
One thing I can tell is actually chanting, deity worship came much later, not immediately after 2 years, 2.5 years. But chanting Prabhupada gave in the starting only. And as maybe this may be my guess, that as soon as when he told them to chant 64 rounds, he understood the reaction. So Prabhupada, when he gave other things, he gave in a simpler form, maybe. And another thing is the ingredients, like all these things, even water and all, it's there. It's already, it's not available there. So he already knows these things are not available. How can he expect? But about chanting, Prabhupada saw that all of them are very enthusiastically chanting, and they are dancing the kirtan. Maybe that could be and they are like, most of them are hippies, they are jobless. Maybe that could be the reason Prabhupada proposed them to chant 64 rounds, because they are free. But when they said they cannot chant, then Prabhupada reduced. But deity worship and all, he already knows the circumstances there, that these things are not available. Even he has to get mridanga from India. Those means availability of the ingredients for performing deity worship is already not there. So which is not that he cannot expect them to do. But once some kind of this organization has developed and relations have developed and devotees came here and they started bringing and all, then he slowly started. So I'm thinking that it's because it was starting and they were maybe hippies. So Prabhupada thought they are very much attached and they are free to chant whole day. And anyways, they were chanting 8 hours a day. They were going for Harinam and whole day. They may not be chanting on beats, but they were chanting on reeds, harmonium. Now, I don't know the exact answer. This is a God's own clue. If you know, please tell me. If you know, please tell me.
This question is also new for me. So I just can feel that maybe Srila Prabhupada found devotees taking good interest in deity worship, so he encouraged them. And as far as chanting is concerned, it's always a struggle. Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, Prabhupada never told any how many rounds they should time. After the initiation, then it started.
One time,
regulation.
I mean, Srila Prabhupada guidelines, he always says 16 rounds minimum. So there is always a scope to chant more rounds. Gopal Krishna Maharaj he was always chanting more rounds, isn't it?
This could be the
So 16 rounds minimum. Okay. And one time, in some discussion, Shil Papa would say, Ekadashi day, chant whole day night. So that means Shil Papa was always emphasizing for chanting more rounds also. But because we were not capable, so he was saying at least minimum 16 rounds. Feedback.
Actually, Prabhupada, sometimes he used this technique also. So that one devotee was told that you take sannyas. Actually, Prabhupada wanted to make him president, but but he made all the plan that now he will not agree. Prabhupada told, you take sannyas. So the Prabhupada, I will become president. So Prabhupada, anyway, he had a plan that I will give 16 rounds. So initially he gave 16. Anyway, they said that they will chant 64. So initially he gave 61, gradually came to 16 rounds. Maybe.
Very nice presentation, and all the points are covered without any ambiguity. So such presentation, just one suggestion, just in such kinds of presentation, they are not like they are given in Bhagavatam. So we have to think mentally and we have to prepare presentations. For such presentations, we should give the principle and along with that example and how it affected the movement. If such kinds of examples are given in this manner, then such kinds of question doesn't arise in the minds of the audience. So in that way we present, it will be more presentable and understandable to audience.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I liked you quoting few verses in relation to Desh Kal Vibhagavit and also how the Yug Dharma for different ages is also as per time, place. So this point also I liked. And also how Ramanujacharya, he gave mantra to all. So these were the good pastimes which you quoted. So it was well presented. And just I felt that as per time, place and situation, this Narad Muni pastimes regarding changing Ratnakar. Of course, you showed the slide, but you didn't quoted that pastime. Yeah, I understand. So it was well presented. So please continue speaking nicely like this and preach well. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So now all of us can assemble on Monday. Thank you. Hare Krishna.